Sorry, folks, this is Ben Gessel. I just got cut off there a little bit. It's just my phone. I was talking about how there's just no way, right, that somebody could be doing something in real life that the same kind of behavior I saw on TV. Well, of course, little kids, we can watch He-Man. We can act like one of the He-Man characters when I was younger, right? But kids can very easily reenact what they see on the watch. They can act like their favorite character. That's kind of pretty much all in good fun. Depending on the show, some shows, I don't know. Okay, but when we're talking about teens, especially adults, as we get older, everything gets more serious as we get older because you're older. You know more. You have more of influence on other people. If somebody, just think about this for just a second. Just for a second. So there's all these competitive shows. There's, let's say, American Idol. American Idol is cruel to its contestants. Absolutely cruel, in my opinion. It's amazing that people... I'm not talking about the judges. I'm talking about Simon to a certain extent, but more especially what I've heard about the show regarding other people that you cannot see in the cameras that are doing things to make the experience much worse, much more difficult for contestants. So American Idol, let's just say someone watches that a lot. I've had roommates that have watched that before quite a bit. Everybody's a little different how they respond to that stuff. But let's say somebody's more impressionable, more sensitive about these things. And they have a stressful job. This was me. I got to a point where, because of the nature of what I was doing with my job, and because of watching all these shows that were angry or very intense, made you feel stressed out all the time. Simon's utter disregard for, yeah, you saw it. He's trying to be like the real world guys. It's just Simon. The show was not nice, right? They've made other shows. He wasn't trying to be nice. He was trying to be really realistic, but we're not talking professionals here. We're talking about people that, yes, they're auditioning for talent, but it's set up. The whole show is set up to be very callous toward people. Yeah, so let's just take it for what it's worth. That's the way the show was, and many other shows like that I watched. I got to a point where I just, I didn't, unfortunately, fortunately, what happened to me was ultimately not that big of a deal. I don't have to get into it very much, but I can only take so much of that element before I'm like, I've had enough of this. Nope. I just, don't, whether it's TV or whether it's a job, get something different. It's like I'm done. But so that's just my experience, and that's just with competitive, mean reality shows and a stressful job ahead of that. But everybody's story is a little different. Everybody's personality is a little different. People can. I'm just gonna mention this for what it's worth. Maybe there's some introverted young woman in college, and her roommates watch certain shows religiously. So because she wants to be friends with them, and she wants to have friends and not feel lonely. She watches what they watch. And what they watch she doesn't really like, but she values being with them over her own comfort. I'm not going to get into detail about this person's race or anything like that. You guys can make your own decisions what kind of person I'm talking about here. But then this young woman, she has her classes during the day that are stressful and hard. And she's just trying to hold on to anything that she considers to be something that brings her happiness. But let's just say, whether it's her friends she thought were her real friends aren't that great of friends, or she gets bad grades and has to come home for a while, or maybe she's able to do well in college, but she's still kind of miserable socially. Whatever it is, if we're just talking about media again, those shows that her supposed friends are watching, what kind of content did it have? Did it have on those shows, and how was it influencing those people? What was it suggesting that was okay to do? When I watched Seinfeld at BYU, my freshman year of college, Seinfeld, as likable as that show was, and Jason Alexander, love, those guys are funny, right? We all know about Michael Richards and his racist rant and all that stuff. We all know about whatever. I think Jason Alexander's a really funny guy. Seinfeld had content in it that definitely did not help at all me spiritually, or anyone else that saw that show in that room. Now, this is Seinfeld we're talking about. But this is like the late 90s. No, it didn't do anything for me. It was funny. You had Cosmo Kramer with his crazy hair, and Jason Alexander's character that was kind of just the chubby guy, kind of sugar a lot, And everybody had their little thing. You could watch a handful of episodes, you'd be done with that show. It was kind of a dumb show. Seinfeld is not really that funny of a guy. I don't think poorly of him, but Jerry Seinfeld is not really that funny. But he's okay. The show is like cotton candy, but worse, because cotton candy, at least, I don't know, you get some empty calories from it. Seinfeld just did nothing. But why did I watch it? Because there were some other people in the downstairs common room, and more people wanted to see it than something else. And so what I ended up doing was, if I sometimes wanted to stay up late, is I would watch whatever I wanted to watch when nobody else was there, or very other people were there, and they said, "Oh, this is fine. You can watch this," and it's just, that's the way it was. And so sometimes I wouldn't even go down to watch TV until late at night, and I wouldn't watch it for that long. I'd go back to bed and be up for classes next day. Freshman year of college. I still remember those times. And but that's Seinfeld. There's so many other shows that can have the same effect on people, where it's just over time, your behavior just starts changing bit by bit, little by little. These little things. I don't watch TV shows. I don't watch any of them. None. Zero. Zilch. None. Do you know why? It's because of this. It's because of this programming crap that happens. It's like, you have your favorite shows. You after a bit you start to act like them. You never said, "Oh, I actually want to act more like this person." You probably never thought that way. to begin with. You start seeing this stuff for whatever reason, and you're like, oh, man, the last thing I said to that person really sounded a lot more like this other person that I've been watching this show, and this person acts that way. If you've seen enough American Idol, you're going to start to act like Simon Cowell. You're going to be much more direct with people, and probably not as considerate. And you say, oh, I'm being more professional, I'm being more realistic about... No, you're just being a jerk. There are times when it's time. There's times when it's time to be direct, but those times are pretty few compared to the times when you can just be tactful but yet still direct. You can be direct but tactful. You can be respectful and tactful at the same time. Oh, you can be respectful and direct at the same time. But if you're just a jerk, you're just a jerk. You know, you can defend it however you want to defend it, but you know when you said something that was not very considerate. Whether or not that's just you or a TV show, I ultimately have no idea. But what I'm trying to say is that our behaviors are being shaped by what we watch all the time, whether we're aware of it or not. What we read, but especially what we watch and what we listen to. And yes, there are some very wicked entities behind this. I'm not suggesting that it's just some isolated individuals here and there that just have, they're sick people. I'm saying, no, this is actually a concerted effort to dumb down everyone and to make everyone act like idiots instead of who we really are. And so, what am I suggesting? Well, how about let's start treating TV for what it is. It's junk food, unless it's something actually worthwhile. And let's start doing some other things with our time. It's up to you what those things are, but I suggest something not involving... The problem with the TV is that you're in a relaxed state of mind, almost like you're being hypnotized, and you're letting something come to you. And you're in this almost just you're vegging out, you're just absorbing everything without a whole lot of critical thought going on, and you're being programmed. I'm being programmed. If during the course of these videos you saw any behavior, or you heard any behavior from me that reminded you somehow of some person on a TV show, and imagine there's probably some links there may be a connection. But if anything, it's probably going to be from, let's say, American Idol. When I was watching, TV shows, because my roommates were passed, I can see a little bit of Simon Cowell in me at times, but not really. Ultimately, what Simon's after is he's after talent and more money, and he's not gonna be Mr. Nice Guy on TV. But that's just one person. There's so many other personalities out there. How many of us wanted to be James Bond, in the 60s? Well, the nice thing is that Sean Connery actually is a very more respectable person, and, we could try to be more handsome like him in some whatever way, shape, or form. That, and this is more from earlier generation, but perhaps, or you could try to look more like Daniel Craig or Pierce Brosnan, whoever it is. Whoever is your favorite James Bond, you could try to act like him more. And then, of course, Sean Connery himself said, I hate that DMM James Bond, or Bond, or whatever. Because Sean Connery isn't a womanizer. He actually is more respectful toward women, But the thing is that we were kind of programmed, right? We were, this British private eye, man, I need to be more that way. Maybe I could. This is just a teenage train of thought back in the 60s and 70s. Maybe if I said, pussy, and you carried your had the nice suit, whatever, maybe you could, the girls would like you more. Yeah, I don't know. I know that's probably a very real thing back then, all these things, but this was like the time, I think, still where there wasn't this obvious programming going on. It was just the influence of media. And over time, it just, you know. So there's a lot of dimensions to what I'm saying here. And the people that are being taken advantage of the most are the people that are most reliant on TV for their life. You know, when I was younger, in junior high, I heard the comment, "Get a life." This was kind of a '90s thing. I don't know if you guys ever experienced that. I never liked I never liked that. That was one of my least favorite things I ever heard. You know, it was worse than all the Valley Girl things that came out. Maybe later, about the same time. Because it was just cruel. But some people just like that one character on Taxi. Probably you guys, most of you, maybe many of you don't know what I'm talking about. There's a Taxi episode that talked about addiction to TV, and there was a guy whose whole thing in life was to have as many TVs as possible, and he had a lot of TVs. He got all the channels he could ever want, and that's what he did. And when the end of that show zoomed out, I know I mentioned this before maybe on YouTube, but at the end of that show, there was a slow zooming out the camera, and that was the end of the show, and you're like, oh man. So, yeah. If TV becomes your life, I don't know. Guys, there are evil people that are preying upon people that are just sometimes. It's hard for me to sum up what I'm trying to say. It's hard for me to find the words to what I'm trying to say here. But it makes me madder than you can possibly imagine. It makes me more helpless than you can possibly imagine. To know that there are people that are being programmed to think and behave in certain ways that are not really who they are in this life. Right now. Not even 20 years ago, not even... Yeah, yes, certainly back then, yes, but it's getting worse and worse all the time. So what can you do? Well, you can just watch what you want to watch. You don't have to watch anything you don't want to watch. You don't have to. Nobody's saying you have to. You can not watch it if you don't want to. You should be aware of what ideas are being forced down your throat. You can actually stop paying for TV. You can actually just go pay for internet and YouTube, or YouTube free, and just watch what you want to watch on YouTube. And you can go for walks, and you can try to meet some new people, and you can try to develop your hobbies, you can try to, all that stuff. But not the Illuminati. They have nothing to do with your life. They should have nothing to do with your life. But we should fight them, but we shouldn't just act like couch potatoes and just assume that everything that's on TV is, just another TV show. Oh, it's a nice show. Oh, you guys should watch this show. Oh, the other person, what do you mean? That's a cool show. Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna watch one of these dumb reality TV shows, you might as well invite some friends over. I'm just saying. Anyway, leave me thoughts and comments below. I'll catch you guys later.